登録して
Kaizoku.
Alright, in today's video, I thought it would be fun to give my first reactions to some OP06 cards. Well, all of them actually, the entire set. Previously, I did look at all the leaders at least, so I at least know what all the leaders do, if I remember, from like a month ago. But anyway, yeah, a lot of these cards will be cards that I'm seeing for the first time. I'm going to have strong opinions about them because I think it would be funny if I'm completely wrong about some of them later. And then you guys can be all like, hey, Cardi Kaizoku, you said this card sucked, but actually it's really good. And I'll be like, nuh-uh, prove it. And then you guys can link back to this video. Anyway, let's get started with the first card here. It's Red Purple Leader Uta. Let's see, when attacking, you may trash one film type card from your hand, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2000 power until the end of the turn. Then up to one Dawn from your Dawn deck is rested. I remember saying that this leader ability sounded strong, but it depended entirely on the film cards that they're gonna print in the set. So let's see what cards show up. So the first card is, but technically second, it's Inazuma. Ooh, more Revolutionary Army support. That is nice. For Bella Betty, what does this one do? When this character has 7000 power or more, they gain Banish. Without a trigger that lets you play it for free, I don't think this card will be used in Bella Betty. Yeah, seems kind of bad. Unfortunate, because Bella Betty kind of needs more useful cards in her deck. Up next though, I do see a new Ivankov card. 5 costs on play, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, play up to one Revolutionary Army type character card with power 5000 or less, then return the remaining cards. Ooh. Okay, yeah, this is great. Lets you 2 for 1 to swarm your board with Revolutionary Army cards. There's no way this isn't a 4 of, right, in Bella Betty? Is this enough to make her meta? I haven't seen any Bella Bettys in OP06 top any events though. But I don't know, this card does seem like it would be a big boost. So excited for this card to be added to my Bella Betty deck. Next up we have Baron Omatsuri on play, play up to 1 Lily Carnation from your hand. And he's a 2 cost 3k. Well, it depends on what Lily Carnation is, but I'm not holding my breath on this one. Pretty sure it's gonna suck. Okay, up next is Gaspard. I didn't watch this movie, apparently. He looks kind of like Whitebeard, what the heck? But just a vanilla film, 6 cost, okay. Moving on, we have Saga. Dawn ×1 when attacking, this character gains plus 1000 power till the start of your next turn. Then at the end of this turn, trash one of your film type characters. What? Okay, he's 5k base, he gets plus 1k till the next turn, so he's a 6k, and you have to trash? Oh, he's a 2k counter. Okay, yeah. Never mind, it makes sense. I was like, this sounds like doo-doo. But as a 2k counter, film 2k counter, yeah, that's all you could ask for, actually. Moving on, we have, ooh, Shanks, a new Shanks card, 10 cost. On play, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 10,000 power or less. This is good, right? Doesn't it sound great? He's an SR, makes sense. Yeah, 10 cost, kill anything with 12k power. Maybe can be used for like a non-aggro red deck. It could open up some options there. Up next we have Schneider, just a vanilla, 3 cost film. And then Shuraya, a blocker when attacking or when blocking once per turn. This character's base power becomes the same as the power of your opponent's leader until the start of your next turn. I think that's good, right? If your opponent puts Dawn or buffs their leader and you block, you'll always just need 1k counter to save your blocker. When attacking too, he basically is a 3 cost card that can attack into 6k leaders. Yeah, that sounds really great actually. Huh. I feel like he'd be good in Red Purple Law too. Gonna keep my eye on this guy. And I don't remember what movie he's from. Next up we have Douglas Bullet. Your leader has the type film. This character gains blocker. That sounds pretty bad. 6 cost blocker with 7k power, and it's conditional blocker. He's a film card. He's a rare too, what the heck? It seems kind of bad for a rare. I guess they need to make the blocker conditional if they're going to give him 1k counter, but I'd rather not have the counter and him have a better effect. Oh well, moving on. Next up is Tot Musica. This is from Film Red. the most recent film, that's why I remember. Activate main once per turn, you may rest one of your Uta. This character gains plus 5000 power for this turn. Sounds like a gimmick, and I don't think there are any Uta cards that are easily played for this. So you have the leader, red purple Uta, and then you have purple blocker Uta, and then you have the Uta from OP01 that brings back a red card to hand, and then you have the green Uta, the blocker one. That's 2 cost. But there's no red-green film deck, right? Yeah, I don't think this card is good for now. Next up is Bear King. If your opponent has a leader or character with the base power of 6000 or higher, this character cannot be KO'd in battle. So he's a Whitebeard and red-purple Luffy counter. It's weird, in One Piece, the cards that counter a color's mechanic, like in this case, red-purple Luffy and Whitebeard being red leaders with 6k base power, the cards that like counter them are printed in the same color as the mechanic. Because I noticed that too with black cards. There are black cards that are immune to KO, but black cards have the most KO effects. Yeah, it's really weird, but this guy seems like, even as a tech card, I wouldn't run him. So, thumbs down for me. Next card is Monkey D. Luffy. 2 cost on play, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 film type card and add it to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom. Trigger, activate this character's on play. So we get a film searcher, and it's Luffy, Straw Hat and film. This along with Buena Fiesta gives you 2 searchers if you're running red purple, so I think that's pretty good. The trigger, oh, it doesn't let you play the character, it just lets you search. I guess that's one way to balance it. I was thinking in like a aggro Zoro deck, having one other searcher now, one that's 3k power would be nice, but yeah, the trigger not letting him be played does make him lose a little bit of value from that. I don't know, maybe he still works in Zoro, there needs to be more film cards to utilize it with though. But we have Promo Gordon from way back. Up next is Ratchet. On opponent's attack, you may discard any number of film type cards from your hand. For each card discarded this way, give it to one of your leader or characters plus 1000 power for this battle. This turns any film card into a 1k counter. This is terrible. Okay. Lily Carnation. Oh yeah, the card that gets cheated out by the other guy. What was it? Baron Omatsuri. So what does it do? 0 power. Activate main. Once per turn, you may trash one of your characters with 6000 power or more. Play up to 1 film type character card with the power between 2 and 5k from your trash rested. Yep, this is straight trash. Pulls from trash, but belongs in the trash. Unless there's a way to use it that I am not aware of. But moving on, we have Raise Max. Oh, I've seen this guy. Activate main, you may place this character at the bottom of your owner's deck, give it to one of your opponent's characters minus 3k. Yeah, so just a Gordon reprint, much needed one at uncommon rarity, so it'll be a lot more affordable to get him. And technically you can have 8 copies of Gordon in your deck now. So I definitely see him in Red Purple Law. And then he can be tutored by, or not tutored, searched by that new Luffy searcher too. So maybe he's even used in Zoro. But yeah, very nice addition. Moving on to the red events, Meteor Strike of Love. Main and counter, you may add 1 life card to your hand, up to one of your leader or characters gains plus 3k during this turn. It's 2'd on to add 3k. 2'd on to counter for 3k, or 2'd on to buff for 3k. That sounds bad for the price of 1 life. What the heck? Okay, this is a horrible card. Up next, Gum Gum King Kong Gatling. Main, give up to one of your leader or characters plus 3k. Then if your opponent has a character with 7k power or more, give up to one of your leaders or characters another plus 1k for the turn. Trigger, K up to one of your opponent's characters with 5k power or less. The trigger is great, 5k. What does the main do? It's kind of long. So it gives plus 3 for 2, and then potentially can give plus 4. But what was that card? Fire Redoll already gives plus 4. But I guess with this card you can target 2 different characters. I don't know if that matters. Maybe this card is still good just for the trigger alone, I'm guessing. So yeah, maybe this is used. Maybe Zoro deck, maybe Ace deck, I don't know. Probably Zoro. Next up we have Azure Dragon, Stamp Flowing Water. From, oh, this is from Film Z, I think, right? K up to one of your opponent's characters with power 5000 or less. Trigger, K up to one of your opponent's characters with power 4000 or less. Okay, so it's like a smaller jet pistol. Yeah, this is pretty good actually. You can combo it with Gordon to kill like an 8k with 3, or 4 total. Yeah, that sounds great. Pretty sure this card is used in the meta, I hope. Hope I'm not wrong on that. Next up is the Hody leader, moving on to green. This was another leader that I said that it really depends on the rest of the support in the set for the new Fishman archetype. Yeah, what he does is you can rest him, and then you can't add cards to your life, to your hand, through your card effects, which is what a lot of the new Fishmen do. You can also rest a 3-cost or one of your opponent's Dawn. Next card is Perona, green, black Perona. Yeah, I'm just scared of any dual color leader with black now, because black is one of the best support colors, but I've seen Perona do well recently. I'll be interested to find out why after looking at the new cards. The activate main once per turn, you can either rest a 4-cost or less, or give a character -1 cost. Yeah, free effects like Sakazuki, so pretty sure she's good. Just based off that, being half black and then having free effects from her leader ability. And cost reduction too built in. We even have green yellow Yamato, so 3 green leaders to set. Alright, they have double attack innately for free always. And then if your opponent has 3 or less life, you can add 2 rested Dawn to one of your characters once per turn. Yeah, it's like all gas kind of deck. A lot of people were saying that my DGen kid list is reminiscent of this Yamato deck, so I'll be happy to try out Yamato in OP06 for sure. Right, the first green character is Arlong. On play, you may discard 1 card from your hand. Up to one of your opponent's rested leaders may not attack until the end of their next turn. It's like a mini Doflamingo freeze. Maybe it's good at 4 cost. Because one of the main targets that you want to freeze with 10 cost Doflamingo is their leader anyway. And getting to do it pretty early at 4 seems like it would be good. Oh, his trigger lets you rest a 4 cost too. But he doesn't have counter. Maybe he's good. He sounds good. I'm gonna put him in the good category for now. Next up is Ikaros Muhi. I think this is one of the new Fishmen we actually saw when Hody was spoiled. On play, if your leader's type is new Fishman Pirates, play up to 1 4-cost or lower Fishman character from your hand, then add the top card of your life to your hand. Yeah, as I was saying, if you use Hody's leader ability and you rest the leader, you don't have to do that second part where you add the life card to your hand. So it's 5 Dawn to cheat out another 4-cost. I think that sounds good. That sounds like better Holy, but Ohm lets you search for Holy too. But yeah, this is more stats. I'm gonna put it on the maybe bucket. Up next is Kami. On play, look at the top 4 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 Fishman or Merfolk type card other than Kami, and reveal it and add to your hand, and put the rest back on the bottom. So just a Fishman Merfolk searcher. Can't complain. Would open up some decks in the future, so I'm gonna say this one's good. Hoshiro. On play, set up to one of your cost 4 or lower / trait characters as active. Then for this turn, you may not attack your opponent's leader. 3 Dawn to restand a character, and then you may not attack your opponent's leader. Does that mean my leader or character? Hold on, let me check the Q&A for this. Can my leader or characters other than the character set as active by this effect attack my opponent's leader during the turn in which I activate this on-play effect? No, they cannot. Okay, so this card sucks. That was easy. Next card is Giro. On KO, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. This is bad. I can tell right away. And he's not even in a archetype that benefits any current leaders. Right, next up is Zio. Dawn ×1 when attacking. If your leader has a new Fishman Pirates type, set up to one of your Dawn is active. And this character gains plus 1000 power for this turn, then add the top card of your life to your hand. Oh, it's a 2k counter, so I'm not even gonna bother with the effect. It's probably not played. 2k counter, new Fishman. Daruma, Dawn ×1 when attacking once per turn. If your leader has the new Fishman Pirates type, set this character as active. And give it plus 1000 power for the turn, then add the top card of your life to your hand. So it swings for 6k and then untaps himself at the end of the turn. At the price of tapping your leader. I don't think that's worth the price of not attacking with your leader. Up next is Dosun. When attacking, if your leader has a new Fishman Pirates type, this character cannot be KO'd in battle and has power plus 2000 until the start of your next turn. Then add the top life card to your hand. So he's a 3 Dawn, 6k that cannot be KO'd in battle. That might be worth. But again, at 3 Dawn, early on, I'd rather just attack with my leader instead of this guy. I don't know, maybe new Fishman is not gonna be a legit archetype, or competitive one at least. Up next is Hachan, not a 2k counter this time. So he has no main effect, he just has a trigger, play up to 1 Fishman or Merfolk character with the cost of 3 or less from your hand. Okay, so even he doesn't even come out himself. He cheats something else out for 3. But would you ever play him out of your hand for 4? Not really. Maybe we'll see like a 3 cost trigger that's worth it down the line, but for now, don't really like Hutch on here. Hammond, 2 cost blocker in the new Fishman Pirates archetype. Okay, good to have. Vanderdecken 9? That's 9, right? On play, you may trash a Fishman type card from your hand or trash a Noah's Ark from your hand or field. Go up to one of your opponent's rested characters. Does that mean Noah's Ark is like a stage card? Or is it a character? No, it's like a thing, right? So trash a Fishman and KO any rested character. That sounds pretty good for 2 Dawn. But the ammo is pretty specific. You need a Fishman type card. I could see this being a pretty good card if Hody is legit. I guess he fits in green, yellow, or Arlong too. Yeah, I like this card. Next is Hyozo. Activate main once per turn. Rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less, and this character gets plus 1000 power during this turn. Then add the top card of your life to your hand. Let's activate main. So you can do it every turn that you live. And then he becomes a 7k attacker at the cost of your leader not attacking. That seems pretty good. But then why wouldn't you just run Perona then? Because Perona does the same thing with their leader ability for free. Huh. Good in theory, but yeah, with the fact that I know Perona exists, maybe not as good. Green SR, Hody Jones as a character. He has Rush for 7, 8k power. On play, rest up to a total of 2 of your opponent's characters and or Dawn. What the heck? Then put the top card of your life to your hand. Right off the bat, this card sounds really good. He has Rush and he can rest 2 blockers. Or 2 Dawn. So you could rest Dawn that was left up for like Radical Beam and stuff. Yeah, that sounds really amazing actually. For like late game finish. At the price of 1 card in hand that you can stop with Hody Jones. Well, I guess you can run him in a non-Hody deck. Any green deck. Yeah, with this Yamato, you can play him for 7, rest a blocker. And then if you've landed any double attacks, your opponent's probably at 3 or less life. So you can attach 2 rested Dawn to Hody, which makes him like a 10k swing that can't be stopped because you rest the blockers and Dawn that they could use to defend against it. That sounds really good, right? That sounds amazing actually. Is this the best card of the set? It's the best card I've read so far. And I don't think he's even that great in a Hody deck. He sounds better in a Yamato deck, to be honest. He might even be good in that D-Gen Kid deck. Yeah, this is what that Kid deck needs. Dang, we have to wait a set. Alright, I'm gonna add this to my Kid deck once OP06 is out. Next up is Ryuma. On play and on KO, KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with the cost of 4 or less. 4 cost 6k, so it's pretty decent. It's kind of like a green Lucci. Except of killing 2 things, you kill 1 bigger thing that's rested. Oh, it's Land of Wano. Not a Fishman. I don't know, sounds good. It's cheaper than X-Drake by 1 Dawn with the same stat line. And he can do it on KO too. Yeah, I like Ryuma. Probably used in the Perona deck. Maybe even Kinemon. Right, moving on. We have Wadatsumi, Vanilla 6k Fishman. So we'll just move on. Secret rare of the set, Roronoa Zoro, 9 cost, 9k power. When attacking once per turn, if you pay 1 Dawn, set this character as active. For 1. Activate main once per turn. For 2 Dawn, set this character as active. Because that means he can attack like 3 times. For 3 Dawn in a turn, after you play him, he can attack 3 times. That sounds insane. It just depends if you can get him to stick until the next turn. And I guess at 9 cost, it's hard to get rid of him. Because Ice Age will bring him to 4, and then leader attacks. Sakazuki specifically attacks, brings them to 3. They still need to play like a Tsudu or something to Houndblaze him, or Lucci. So I think he's fairly safe. Yeah, I like this. And it's a Zoro card, so I guess I gotta like it. The art's really sick too. Okay, green events, Billionfold, World, Trichiliocosm. Okay, English is not my strong suit, I guess. 1 cost counter up to one of your leader characters, get plus 2000 power during this battle. Then if you have 8 or more rested cards, that card gains an additional 2k. So a green 4k counter that needs 8 rested things. Technically 7, right? Because the Dawn you pay for this becomes the 8th card. Then trigger K up to one of your opponent's rested characters with the cost of 3 or less. That's probably not as important, but is this card good? It sounds good. A green 4k counter for 1. It would be good in a deck that runs 8 cost Kid, because you'll play 8 cost Kid, tap him, cheat out a blocker, put Dawn on Kid, and then you have 1 Dawn up for 4K counter. That's a 10 rested Dawn in the end. Yeah, this sounds great if you're running Kid, but I gotta stop talking about Kid because people are gonna start thinking that this is a green Kid channel. I've been talking about him a lot recently, but would be excited to run this in a 8 cost Kid deck. Next up is You Couldn't Even Kill My Boredom. 4 cost event. Main, choose one of the following effects. Rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less. Or KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with the what? Did this fan translation forget to add the second part of the card? Trigger, activate this card's main effect. Alright, 1 second, let me find out what this card actually does. Okay, you can KO a 6 cost rested character. 4 Dawn to KO a 6 cost. And then on trigger, you can rest a 6 cost or potentially KO one. But for 4, it's pretty steep. I'll put this one on the borderline, maybe good. Next up, Shark Arrows. 2 Dawn main, KO up to 2 of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 3 or less. Trigger, activate this card's main effect. Like a mini Lucci for rested characters, and you'll need black to cost reduce cards to make this card useful, so probably not that great. Noah's Ark, oh yeah, here's that card. It was a stage card after all. Ooh, 6 cost, what the heck. On play, rest all of your opponent's characters. Trigger, put this card into play. So on trigger, it's a free rest on characters, not leaders. Then from hand, it's 6 cost to do that. That doesn't sound good. What did that card do again with this stage card? KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters. So it's 6 Dawn to rest everything, and then 2 Dawn to KO after trashing 2. I don't know, it doesn't sound worth it to me. Yeah, and at 6 cost, you can't even chain it with Birdcage. Thought that might have been a cool interaction. Like play this to rest everything and then play Birdcage to keep them rested, but you don't have enough Dawn to do that in 1 turn. So yeah, Noah's Ark, probably doo-doo. Right, next up is Blue Purple Reiju Leader. Your turn once per turn. When one of your Dawn cards is returned back to your Dawn deck, draw 1 card. Yeah, utility effect that draws you a card sounds like it would be good, and then returning Dawn is a lot easier than it is to play events, so probably infinitely better than Blue Purple Crocodile at least. So let's see what the cards in the set do for her. We have 8 cost Aramaki, the Navy Admiral, Green Bull. Let's see what he does. He's an SR blocker. Discard 1 card from your hand and return a 2 cost or lower character to the bottom of its owner's deck. This character gains plus 3k for this turn. So it's like a built-in Helmblaze. And he buffs himself for 3k. Oh yeah, that's basically Helmblaze. Oh, that's not even his attack. It's Sakazuki's attack. Does blue-black Sakazuki need this? He is a blocker in the end, but he does cost 8. So you play him for 8, you have 2 Dawn to use for cost reduction. That sounds kind of hard. Usually you need to combo with the Hina, or like Rebecca into Hina, to usually remove things, so don't think he's good. Unless you play him like a turn before and hope he sticks. But he does a blocker? I don't know, borderline. Up next is Gion. Your turn, once per turn, when your opponent activates an event, your opponent places 1 card from their hand at the bottom of their deck. Ooh, that's a 2k counter? That sounds really good. Yeah, she can either be played as a 2k counter, a 5k attacker, or like a event counter, event card counter. And again, like blue runs the most events, but the card that benefits from your opponent playing events is also blue. Kind of weird, but that's how they've designed their counters, I guess. Counter mechanics. Next up is Kuzan. Young ass Kuzan. 3 cost. On play, draw 2 cards and place 2 cards from your hand at the bottom. Okay, just a Kaya that can attack. Maybe good. People run Kaya, but Kaya is more useful as a utility card, I think. You don't really need an attacker that can do that. Up next is Sakazuki. Young Sakazuki. On play, place up to 1 character with a cost of 2 or less at the bottom of its owner's deck. So it's like a Helmblaze without the plus 3k, but you get a body. Or no, it's more like a mini Borsalino. 7 cost Borsalino. Yeah, 7 cost to bottom deck of 4, 5 cost to bottom deck of 2. Might be used. If you Ice Age something, you can bottom deck up to a 7 cost. So it's 6 Dawn to get rid of a 7 cost. And develop a 6k. Yeah, this might be used in Blue-Black Sakazuki actually. We'll have to see. I'm probably wrong on that though. Next is Charlotte Pudding. On play, your opponent returns all of their cards to their deck and shuffles their deck, then your opponent draws 5 cards. 4? This is a really interesting card. It's kind of like a discard law, or Isho, where you make them discard down to 5, but they're not discarding, they're shuffling it back to their deck. But you also shuffle the rest of their hand. How would you use that? So I think if they keep their opening hand, it's always a good idea to play pudding, because they found something that they wanted to keep. But if they mulliganed, I guess you just wait to see what they do on their first turn. Yeah, if they like didn't play a searcher or something, then they probably had like a hand they didn't want anyway. So you don't play pudding to let them keep a bad hand? I don't know. Probably a lot of ways to think about that. Next up is Zeph. 3 cost during your turn when your opponent activates a blocker or event. If your leader has the East Blue type, you may put the top 4 cards of your deck into your trash. More Nami support? Glad to see it. Will this card be used in Nami? They activate blocker? When would Nami make an opponent activate blocker though? I don't know. Next up is Sengoku. He's a 5 cost vanilla this time around, navy vanilla. Next up is Tashigi. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 navy type card other than Tashigi and reveal it. Put it into your hand and place the rest on the bottom. So we get a navy searcher too. Pretty sure this is run in Sakazuki because you have both Tashigi and brand new. And Tashigi becomes a 5k after you Houndblaze something. Yeah, pretty sure this is run in Sakazuki. We have Tsuru, Young Tsuru, Baddie Tsuru, 2k counter. On play, you may trash 2 cards from your hand. Your opponent returns one of the characters to its owner's hand. Seems like not worth the effect, but she's still a 2k counter at the end of the day. And then Tokikake, Dawn times 1. If you have 4 or less cards in your hand, this character cannot be KO'd in battle. This doesn't sound good. So moving on, Jaguar D Sol. On KO, place up to 1 character with the cost of 2 or less at the bottom of its owner's deck. On KO. Okay, that's trash. Next up is Young Borsalino. If you have 5 or less cards in hand, this character gains blocker. 2 costs blocker with no counter. Maybe not that great. Next up is Garp. Young Garp? No, he kind of looks like right now Garp, not sure. Dawn times 2 when attacking. If you have 4 or less cards in your hand, your opponent cannot activate blocker during this turn. This is for like an aggro blue deck. It would be interesting to explore that, but I can't think of any applications at the moment. You guys let me know. Then the other secret rare of the set, Sanji, 9 cost. Reveal up to 1 card from your deck. You may put it into play. It costs 9 or less. And it's not a Sanji. The only scary thing is that you can whiff and like an event is on the top of your deck. But then I guess if you're running Sanji, you don't run events maybe to guarantee playing something else out. Or you'll play like a card that rearranges the top cards of your deck the turn before. That sounds good, right? 9 Dawn to cheat out 2 things. Potentially up to 18 Dawn worth of value. Would be fun to try to cheese him. So I'm going to put him in the thumbs up pile. Blue events, we have Amano Murakumo. 2 Dawn main, return up to 1 of your opponent's cost 2 or lower and up to 1 of your opponent's cost 1 or lower characters to the bottom of its owner's deck. Okay, so it's blue cheese effect in a event in the bottom decks. This might be good in the mirror, Sakazuki mirror, because you can bottom deck 2 blocker Borsalinos potentially. And the trigger lets you activate it for free, so it's good into like a weenie deck, maybe like a 2 of tech card. Next up is an event. I could never doubt a women's tears. 1 cost main. Up to 1 of your leader or characters gain plus 1000 power for this turn, then reveal the top card of your deck and put up to 1 cost 2 or less character. No, cost 2 specifically into play and put the rest on the bottom of your top or bottom of your deck. My tongue's not working anymore. I've been speaking for like 40 minutes now. Okay, so what does this card do? You get plus 1k and you can cheat out a 2 cost from the top of your deck. I know that green-blue starter deck, Zoro and Sanji card, probably has something to do with this, but I don't know what that card does, so for now, I don't think this card is good, but could be wrong. And the trigger lets you play a 2 cost for free from hand. Okay, next card is Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. 7 cost event, place up to 2 cost 6 or less characters in any order on the bottom of its owner's deck. It's pretty expensive though. I'm gonna have to say pass. And the last blue event here is White Snake 2 Dawn up to 1 of your leader or characters gain plus 1k for this turn, then draw a card. Trigger, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and then rearrange them. So 2 Dawn to make your leader 6k for the whole turn. And you draw a card. That doesn't sound too great to me. It would be great against decks like Red Purple Law, I guess, but would be a tech choice in that case, and I don't think red purple law is oppressive. Alright, next up is purple. I've been speaking for quite a while now though. I'm only like halfway through still. Getting kind of tired. So actually maybe I'll just stop here and make this a 2-part video. Since this is like literally halfway. I only have purple, black, and yellow left. So I'll leave that for tomorrow's video. So of the cards I've seen so far, what am I most excited for? Honestly, this Hody is my favorite card so far. I didn't expect him to be. He's one of my like least favorite One Piece characters, and the leader, I was kind of iffy on him, but this 7-cost character sounds really great. And then Perona, I do see potential. I have to see the black cards later. I only see green here. Want to see the reason why Perona won that Fukuoka tournament. And then Yamato, pretty sure she's strong. I probably don't need to see the yellow cards to know that, but would be nice to see what crazy yellow cards can be added to the Yamato deck. What else? Red, I don't know, film. Doesn't seem like it's worth it to run. Really, the only cards I liked was like the Shanks, Jiraiya, Ray's Max, and then like maybe the events here, and the Searcher too. And then Revolutionary Army support, it's really just this Ivankov, which I still don't think is enough for Bello Betty to be viable as a top meta deck. Definitely helps though. Maybe one more expansion will fix it, but they probably won't print any more Revolutionary Army. From blue, anything that I liked from blue, I went in a weird order. Yeah, Tashigi Searcher definitely is going to be really good. This Pudding seems like it would be an interesting tech choice. Really mess up your opponent's hand, mess up their curve, potentially. Maybe you might even make them draw into a better one, but that's the risk you're going to have to take. Aramaki, I don't know, he sounds like he would be good, but at that point, it might just be like a win more card. Wouldn't you just rather have a Hound Blaze in hand than have the rest of your Dawn to play other stuff? Oh, and the Zoro is sick as fuck. The Sanji too. Technically, you can play the Zoro from the Sanji, so that'd be a cool combo to pull off if you're playing green-blue. But yeah, that's my first impression of OP06, the first half of it at least. I know this video is like pretty long. Did a lot of yapping, a lot of reading. My mouth is tired, so I'll end it here for now. Won't give any more thoughts. Tune back in tomorrow for the rest of my OP06 first impression. Okay, bye.
Card D Kaizoku.